On with the Air Pollution Control District, and he says it's going to be a bad week air-wise. So be careful out there. But if you've been involved in an accident, maybe you slipped, maybe workers' comp, Social Security question, Karl Truman is here with us every Tuesday. How are you doing?
Good morning. Great.
You tired of all this heat yet?
It's yeah. Well, one of my hobbies is running and getting out. Yeah, I was out at 7 a.m. this morning, so. Yeah, tried to beat the heat a little bit.
Yeah, it takes a toll on you. Hey, speaking of taking a toll, if you have a problem out there, WBKI Legal Line is open right now with Karl Truman, 502-276-2118. Just give us a call. Karl's here to answer your questions. Matter of fact, we've had some email here, and this is one from Amy in Louisville. We want to get to it. We appreciate your email, and you can email us anytime live at WBKI.TV, live at WBKI.TV. I was driving in a residential neighborhood, and someone opened their car door right as I was passing. No one was hurt, but I hit the car door. We swapped insurance information, but is this my fault or theirs? I think it should be their fault, but I may be a bit biased. Okay? What about when you open the door? Are you supposed to go slow, or when someone swings that door open, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, that's a tough call. I mean, and there's really not a black and white answer to that question from the information provided. Because both parties have responsibility. I mean, when you're on the road, I mean, certainly if you're driving down the road, was that person going too fast? Were they driving the speed limit? Were they watching out for people ahead of them? But certainly if you can't just swing your door open either, just, especially if it's a narrow residential neighborhood, you have to look and be responsible and look for oncoming cars. So there's a lot that goes into that question. Which is in many legal questions. So often people ask a question and the answer is, well, it depends. I mean, it's tough because until you start looking at facts, and that's what we as lawyers do, we have to, look at more into facts and ask questions and probe into the other issues and that's why it's so tough when people might meet someone on the street corner or at a social setting and say, well, what about this? And then but you have to ask more questions because it could totally change the outcome.
Well, we're talking to Karl Truman here on Louisville Live this morning. Good having you with us here. Karl's with us every Tuesday. If you have a question, maybe a boating accident, you slipped and fallen, or some bad steps out there, give us a call right now. Karl's with us, 502-276-2118. Back to school next week. I know you're concerned about a lot of student safety and family safety in general. What advice do you have when the buses hit the road and the kids are out there? Because it seems like there's always an accident because people are always in a hurry and they don't remember, hey, the kids haven't been out for a couple months. Right,
yeah, of course, as always, traffic starts backing up even more when the school starts and the bridges back up, the highways back up. So as always, whether it's bad weather or school conditions, just leave a little more extra time to get where you're going. Remind those teenage drivers on their way to school that not to be texting or even using the cell phone. It's obviously you can't text and drive, but even using your cell phone while driving is not safe. So have that talk with those teens before they hit the road going back to school.
Yeah, it's now against the law in Kentucky to text, and I think they had over 50,000 accidents that involve texting, so you just can't do that anymore, so you want to be careful out there. We want to take another question. We have another email in here. Sally from New Albany is writing us here on Louisville Live this morning. What does Karl think of all the immigration debate? How should we legally handle illegal immigrants in our country? I love his discussion and watch him every week. So, okay, that's a good one. How do we legally handle illegal immigrants?
Well, and that is a tough call to make. As far as there's so many constitutional issues that run into that. I mean, I hear the debates about, well, because someone has a baby is born here, that should that child automatically become a citizen? Well, constitutionally they are, and of course where that originated was from the days of slavery. That so those children of the slaves that were brought here illegally, or at the time I guess legally, but that those children of the slaves would automatically be considered citizens. So there are some that argue, well, we need to now change the Constitution, but which is a pretty serious thing. It's a pretty big deal to start tinkering with the Constitution. Mm-hmm. But definitely there are law enforcement issues as far as from the federal government, and it like the law in Arizona. I think most law enforcement really, if you talk to local police officers, they don't want to become immigration officers. That's not what they want to do, and so I don't think that that's necessarily a good idea. It is an issue, but we are a country based on immigrants. We all came here legally or illegally at some point in our lives. So the only ones that can really, perhaps some would say have a really argument on that are the Native Americans.
Yeah.
So,
well, I know it's an issue. It's a very volatile issue in many communities, but we appreciate your email here. One thing we get asked from time to time is you have offices in both Kentucky and Indiana. I know some attorneys work in Kentucky, some attorneys work in Indiana. They have different partnerships, but by working both states, explain how that works when someone calls your office, because you are licensed in both states and have offices.
Well, that's true, because that's something that I think is important. I mean, the legal term is unauthorized practice of law. If you practice law in a state where you're not licensed, that's unauthorized practice of law. For example, I just had several clients recently. I just had a client who they live here in Louisville, but they were on vacation in Orlando, and they were in an automobile accident. And they actually called me while they were in Orlando, because I had represented them previously. Mm-hmm. And they had some issues going on down there. So what I did is, I called an attorney that I know in Orlando, and then was able to hook them up right then with someone there in Orlando that they could get right in to see and start their process. I also have another client that was on vacation in Panama City, Florida, and they were in an automobile accident there. It wasn't an immediate situation. They came home and called me. But I've contacted an attorney in Florida to be able to work as co-counsel. So, because I don't know the Florida laws, but yet I can still help these people.
Well, Karl does help people in these states, and he has associations and, as you heard, friends in other cities. So if you're out of town and out of state and in an accident, call 1-800-ACCIDENT, and Karl's going to help you. Call him right now, because Karl, look at this new thing here. Let me see if I can get this. He's going to give you one of these sun visors.
Talk
for
about
your car.
beating the heat.
Yeah, you get a free one of these just by calling. Say, hey, I saw it on Louisville Live this morning. It looks like giant sunglasses for me here. But anyway, there we go. It's really huge here, but you can put it in your car. Karl Truman, the injury attorney, and I think I'll take this one. But call 1-800-ACCIDENT. It keeps the sun out.
Yeah, they're pretty. You go to a local store to buy one, they're pretty expensive.
Yeah.
And so it's another thing that I'm doing to give away for free.
He just has fun too. We don't have UK U of L tickets yet, but we do have some of this. 1-800-ACCIDENT. Give them a call. What are these What are these things?
Windshield visors.
Sun shields. Okay.
Keep the heat out of your car.
Karl Truman, the injury lawyer, with us every Tuesday. Thanks so much, Karl.